The world is changing. Sometimes it seems that whole ecosystems are collapsing. We're moving on in here. This show is where ambitious accountants get the foresight. I've been chatting to some people about CAS. It's a big movement, isn't it? Client advisory services, client accounting services, however you do it. It's that umbrella term for anything that is beyond compliance. The survival of you as a brand and your firm, whoever you represent, depends on you making this shift. We are in a series around compliance to counsel, the accountant's survival guide to change in the age of AI and M&A and all the other great things that are going on. You're in the accounting space. I'm Rob Brown. I'm the voice of the accountant and helping you have your voice and relevance in a very rapidly changing world. The world is changing. Sometimes it seems that whole ecosystems are collapsing. You're in the accounting space. I'm Rob Brown. I'm the voice of the accountant and helping you have your voice and relevance in a very rapidly changing world. We're in a series here on the Accounting Influencers podcast, which is actually, I can announce the news now, shortly to be branded to the Accounting Voices podcast. Got some exciting new things coming up, which I'll share with you down the line. But we are in a series around compliance to counsel, the accountant's survival guide to change in the age of AI and M&A and all the other great things that are going on. So we're trying to take you from that role as a compliance worker and order filler to trusted advisor. And let me give you some context about what we've been doing so far. Last time we talked about the advisor's mindset. We broke down the 5 skills that AI, artificial intelligence, will not replace. Curiosity was one. Commercial acumen was another one. Communication, entrepreneurial thinking, and influence. All of these things are not too complex for AI, but too nuanced and too emotional and too human. And that is where you will have the edge going forward. Compliance can be replaced by AI. And I asked you last time to score yourself out of whatever you like on those gaps: influence, entrepreneurial thinking, communication, commercial acumen, curiosity, just to get you a little bit closer to closing the gap on moving from compliance to wise counsel. Episode 2, we focused on the clients and their role, what they're demanding. 70% of business owners said they would switch firms for more proactive advice. So what does that mean for you and what you are offering to your clients? You've got to be in the game of advice because advice is power. So that starts pretty telling. Clients don't want form fillers. They don't want order takers. They want advisors, financial professionals, CFOs, whatever you want to call it, that can give them foresight, strategy, sector fluency, sector relevance, competitive advantage. So in episode 1, we set the stage with the automation tsunami. Episode 2, we focused on the demand from clients, and we know that AI is automating 50% of compliance tasks already. The Wall Street Journal reported that 340,000 accountants left the US profession in the last 3 years. Private equity, roll-ups, shrinking middle management, the absence of entry-level jobs because that grunt work and the low-level stuff usually associated with the entry-level, that's been diminished. And all of this is shrinking the accounting opportunities unless you are more than technical, because if you're just technical, you're just going to be invisible and expendable. So yes, this is Accounting Influencers, Accounting Voices, and we're moving on in here. This show is where ambitious accountants get the foresight and the skills, if you like, the playbook to stay relevant and authoritative, and where irrelevance equals unemployment. That's a mantra for this show. So yeah, we've done episode 1, the threat and how automation's changing. Episode 2 was the demand from clients for change. Episode 3, we talked about the mindset and how you need to be changing the way you think about what you're offering to clients. This is episode 4 of 6, and this is the playbook. We always try and be practical here. On the record, I'm a part qualified accountant. I'm a former high school math teacher. I know a lot about this world, but not as much as you. You've got letters after your name. You're qualified. And so I do want to give you some practical advice, because I talk to firms and accounting influencers and experts and vendors all the time. So I want to talk about how to shift from compliance work to advisory. You're probably already doing it, but let's make sure we're all on the same page here and we recognize the trends and the way things are going. And just for context, in episode 5, we're going to talk about technology, how that's going to be your ally. And then in the last one, episode 6, we'll talk about the most important asset of all in you positioning yourself on what you sell and do, which is your personal brand. So let's get into it today. I've been chatting to some people about CAS. It's a big movement, isn't it? Client advisory services, client accounting services, however you do it. It's that umbrella term for anything that is beyond compliance. Bookkeeping is compliance, but I've also heard people talk about bookkeeping as CAS. But is CAS true consulting? Is it true project work? Is it true advisory? I'm not here to debate that, but we're just defining it loosely as beyond compliance. And the challenge for most accountants is not knowing how important advisory work actually is. And then once you've got that, it's knowing how to make the shift. A lot of firms talk about it. A few have done it well. Accountants claim to be doing it. But if I asked 100 accountants, what is advisory work? I'd probably get 101 different answers. The AICPA surveyed firms. You can insert your own professional body or institute there in whatever country you're in. We have mostly North America audience for this show, followed by the UK and other countries. But AICPA surveyed firms and found that more than 60% admit they have failed to build advisory services at scale. That's interesting, isn't it? Nearly 2/3 are admitting that they have not built advisory at scale. So they maybe not done any at all, or they've dabbled a little bit, but the opportunity is wide open for accountants and firms that can. The Inside Public Accounting 2025 report shows that for firms above 50 million, those IPA 1 top 100 firms, about 44% of their revenue comes from consulting services. That's high. It would not have been that high a few years ago. For smaller firms, though, those under 10 million, they report that only 27% of their revenue comes from consulting services. So that perhaps indicates that the smaller firms are struggling to make the leap. They've not got the resources to put into that. They might pivot very quickly and have agility, but it's the bigger firms that are positioning advisory as an increasingly important part of their revenue. So I want to make it personal for you on this show, because I'm not speaking to you as an accounting firm. You might run a firm, you might be a leader in a firm, you might be a student, but you're in the career ladder of accounting, and the survival of you as a brand and your firm, whoever you represent, depends on you making this shift. If you're a manager or staff professional, you're lower in the ranks, your career depends on it. You can't hide behind compliance anymore. So I want to give you a 5-step playbook from compliance worker to trusted advisor. See how you get on with this. And this is not exclusive. It's not the only playbook. And there are loads of great people out there talking about advisory and CAS and the mindset and the stages and everything else. But I put these 5 together because I think if you nailed these 5, you would be well on your way to be more confident, more comfortable, more competent with being a trusted advisor, not just a compliance expert. And let's clear this one off. I'm not saying compliance is dead. I'm not saying you won't make money from it. I'm not saying it's really lucrative. We do know there's downward pressure on compliance, but it's been marginalized. It's becoming less relevant. It's never going to not go away, but that's why AI and automation are picking up the slack. So number 1, 5-step playbook. Number 1 is repackage your services. So I'm saying here, stop selling compliance in isolation. We're talking about a compliance plus product. So you bundle in the advice, the consulting into the tax, the audit, the bookkeeping, the assurance, whatever you call it. You bolt in things on. So you wouldn't say just file a return. You'd include some tax planning and some advice and some additional conversations. So you're not just delivering the financials, you're adding in a performance review. You've been more future looking in your approach. That historical perspective of accountants is very out of fashion. Yes, it's mandated by law. I get that, but it's not valuable in the eyes of the clients so much. They're not looking in the rearview mirror. They want to know where they're going, and more importantly, what the numbers you are telling them means for where they're going. So number 1 is repackage your services. Start to offer compliance plus something, whatever that means, a future-based element. Number 2, sensitive subject, but reprice your work. So we've got repackage your services. Number 2, reprice your work. Pricing sensitive, isn't it? I wonder when the last time was that you put up your pricing, or if you're not in charge of pricing, when was the last time your firm did it? Compliance is commoditized. Hourly rates, timesheets, billable hours, they're all in place for backward-looking tasks that will always be squeezed. And you can do a lot of it with a push of a button now. So we've got to move here to value pricing, menu-based pricing, retainers, fixed fees that include some forward-looking advisory element to it. It's not easy with the pricing. There are some great people out there that speak very competently about pricing, and a lot of it's in your head, isn't it? A lot of it's in the structures that you've got in the firm. But you're not going to get anywhere if you won't reprice your work. You've probably got a lot of clients already that you're charging too little for. So even if you just did your pricing and kept on doing what you were doing, that would be a big uplift. So you could maybe make some space, bring in more resource to concentrate more on advisory work. So number 1, repackage your services. Number 2 in the playbook is reprice your work. Number 3 is retrain your staff and retrain yourself. Technical skills are no longer good enough. Everybody's technically good. ChatGPT can pass the bar exam and pass accounting qualifications, the CPA, the ACCA qualification. It could probably do all of that. So technical skills are no longer a differentiator. It no longer sets you apart. Everyone in the firm needs training in communication, persuasion, negotiation, questioning, business acumen, industry insight, softer skills, you might call them, whatever you want to put in there. Building advisory capability, the ability to have conversations with your clients about the future and the goals and where things are going and what the numbers mean, and telling stories behind those numbers, that's going to be really invaluable. So build that advisory capability into job descriptions, into performance reviews, into training programs, into development, into coaching, into mentoring. You've got to upskill and upgrade if you're going to stay relevant. So number 3 is retrain yourself, retrain your staff. Number 4 is rebrand your image. We don't think a lot about image, do we, as accounting professionals? I wrote a book a while ago, Build Your Reputation. This is on Amazon. You don't need to get it. I'll advise you on all the things you need to build a reputation, build a personal brand. But it's really important. People trust people, and they trust personal brands more than they trust corporate brands and these big businesses and these big brands, because they know that people throw money at those and they're paying for attention. So that they trust authentic personal messages and personal people. People refer people. They don't necessarily refer a company. They'll refer a person rather than a product and a brand. So rebrand your image. And I'm speaking to you as an individual here, also as a firm. If you're at that level, you might be in marketing, but you might own the firm. Your name might be on the building and on the company website. But I'm talking here about your website. Yes, your LinkedIn page, any proposals that you put out, any collateral. If it's just talking about compliance, if it's just talking about basic accounting services, then the clients are not going to see you as an advisor. They're going to see you as a traditional accountant, a technical specialist. You might have some niche expertise in certain verticals or sectors, but your clients need to see you as more than that. So you've got to start building that body of work, that content, that thought leadership. You've got to be vocal and visible with what you believe in, what you're passionate about, what you know. You've got to share some insights. I'm not saying you need to start running a webinar program or running courses and things like that, but you've got to be more out there with stories, success stories, the things that you're doing, the things that you believe in, positioning yourself as, thought leader's an odd term, isn't it? Influencer's even an odd term. What actually is an influencer? But you've got to be more than invisible. You've got to be out there a little bit more, whether you're going on LinkedIn. If you can go on video, brilliant, because video gets traction. It brings out your personality. I work with a few clients where I interview them once a month, just on video, just like you're seeing me right now in a virtual way. And we turn that video into 5 or 10 thought leadership pieces and video snippets and done for you content that's branded up for you. Because as accountants, yes, you've got to display your expertise, but you're not comfortable on camera. I get that. You don't want to bring a film crew in. You don't want to write thought leadership articles and opinion pieces, but you've got it in you. You've got that knowledge. So we do it in a fireside chat situation where it's interviews and we agree, what are we going to talk about? What narratives do you want to own? What do you want to be seen to be speaking on? You can do that. And nobody's doing that really well. There are a few doing it really well. Sorry. There are a few doing that really well as accounting professionals. And particularly if you're the owner of a firm or an outfit, you're the ambassador of the brand. So you've got to be seen to do this stuff. So number 4 is rebrand your image so that you're more of an obvious expert and go-to source for whatever you do. Number 5, last one, is replace old habits. Yes, this needs a shift, doesn't it? But stop waiting until the year end to reach out to your clients. I've had accountants before that would reach out to me a little bit before the year end and say, we need this information to complete year end accounts. And then they'd have a meeting with me afterwards to discuss everything that had happened the year before and maybe give me a couple of warning bells and pats on the back for going forward. But you can't do that anymore. That's the accountant of yesterday. Making advisory a year-round activity is what I mean by replacing old habits. So you've got to move from reactive. And it's no good saying to your clients, we're here for you, we want to help you, if you just sit back in your office and wait for them to call you. You've got to be making that first move, taking a step to them and showing them what's possible and owning that narrative. So yes, making advisory a year-round proactive approach, building regular forward-looking conversations into your calendar with clients so they're expecting that. It's not a call out of the blue. They're not surprised by it. You're letting them know that you're going to be in contact. And just adding a warning here for you, that one of the big mistakes firms make is trying to sell advisory without building capability. So they talk about it, but they then don't have the bandwidth to deliver. You can't fake this. If you haven't got the bandwidth, the time, the skills to deliver it, but you know it's important and you're offering it, you're going to come up short. So yes, you can't fake this. If you sell insights without the skills and the business acumen, the clients are going to see through that really quickly, particularly if you're charging double what you would be. And once that trust is broken, it's difficult to recover. So look, I've given you a playbook there. Let me go through them one by one just again. Repackage your services. You can't just sell compliance on its own. It's compliance plus. Number 2, reprice your work. Compliance is commoditized. You want to move beyond that with better pricing and more confidence in charging what you're worth. Number 3, retrain yourself and your staff. You've got to upgrade and upskill in the skill sets that are required to give proper advice. Number 4 is rebrand your image, your personal brand, your reputation, and be more vocal and visible with what you're doing so that you warm people up and they see you as, out there in the public, they see you as an advisor. Number 5 is replace your old habits. What worked for you yesterday won't necessarily work for you today. And they say what got you here won't get you there. So you get the idea. Advisory is not just throwing a few ideas at the end of a tax meeting. It's about systematically shifting the way you work from history to foresight, from processing to influencing, from silence to visibility. I heard a story about a regional firm in the Midwest in the US. They wanted to pilot an advisory program with just 10 clients. They carefully selected the clients that had shown an appetite for more than compliance, and they positioned what they were about to do with them. And they said, we've chosen you to come on this journey with us. And instead of sending year-end reports, they scheduled quarterly decision-making meetings. They used compliance data as the foundation for those, but they focused every discussion on what was coming next. They always signposted the next meeting, the next goals, and within 12 months, and this is the payoff, those clients were paying double the fees. And not because the compliance was more complex. The compliance was still there, but because the firm had become indispensable in helping those businesses make future decisions and take actions on those decisions about growth and staffing and pricing and all the other things. And that's the shift. You need to be in that business. So to finish, 5 actions you can take right now if you've not gone down this journey to start moving towards an advisory-based approach. Yeah, I'm assuming you're not started already. If you have started already, then you can tick these off that you've done them. But really quick, number 1, identify 3 clients who would benefit from advisory. or would be open to a future focused conversation. You can chat GPT or Google advisory questions. There are loads of great gurus out there that will tell you what an advisory conversation look and sounds like, but reach out and schedule a conversation about their future. That's number one. Number two, choose one advisory skill to practice each week or each month. Forecasting, scenario planning, chat GPT, prompt engineering, reading more into niches. I don't know, loads of things. Get a coach. You could really work on one area a week, on one area a month, and just become more familiar with it, more confident with it. So that's number two. Number three is create a quarterly template for decision meetings. It's good that you know what you're going to ask, you know what you're going to say. You've got a simple agenda. It's performance, it's challenges, it's opportunities, it's next steps. Get better at telling the stories behind the data. That's number three. Number four is, if you can, you're used to tracking time, but have a think or even track the percentage of the time you spend on forward-looking work, future-focused conversations, because being more aware of what that percentage is, that's going to drive change. That's going to hold you accountable. And number five, share one piece of proactive advice, internally or externally, this week and every week. Sharing stuff, you don't necessarily have to create it from scratch, but sharing stuff that you see out there, even putting your little spin on it, sharing it with your colleagues, with your clients, internally if you like, or just putting it out there on LinkedIn. You don't need to be on TikTok or Instagram or X or Facebook or whatever it is necessarily, but LinkedIn's a good business platform. And even if nobody sees it, just get into that cadence of putting some stuff out there. And yeah, if you want to be more visible and authoritative, that's what I do. So reach out to me on LinkedIn and let's see if we can create some high impact video content that positions you as an expert in your field and a trusted advisor. It's a great way to accelerate your presence and raise your profile and your brand. But just to recap today, you've had a 5-step playbook that should serve you well. Repackage, reprice, retrain, rebrand, replace. That's how you're going to move from compliance worker to trusted advisor. So this has been episode 4 on this series, From Compliance to Counsel. Episode 1 was the threat and the reason why you need to change. Episode 2 was the demand from clients. They're asking for it. If you don't give them that, you're going to be irrelevant. Number 3 was the mindset and thinking in a different way. Number 4 was this one, the playbook. Next, we're going to talk about technology in episode 5 that's going to power you and not replace you. And after that, we'll talk about your personal brand. If you found this useful, go to our YouTube channel. It's Accounting Influencers currently. It's going to be Accounting Voices soon, but I will still be at the helm here. And do share this with your colleagues. This is a show for accountants to be more influential in their role and have more of a voice. And do check out another couple of shows I'm proud to be involved in. Leaders of the Ledger from CPA Practice Advisor has just gone live, where we're shining a light on some really influential voices doing incredible things in the accounting world. And Inside Public Accounting with Chelsea Summers, where we tell the stories behind the brilliant research that they do and the numbers that they come up with, the stats. It's remarkable. Chelsea's such a great co-host. So see me on those as well. And in closing, remember this, irrelevance equals unemployment. Irrelevance stops you having a say in your own career choices. Advisory, visibility, authority, they equal survival. The choice is yours. We'll see you on the next episode of Accounting Influencers, soon to be Accounting Voices. Have a great day.